Hey, Wita.
Hey, good morning, Meredith. Good
Morning.
to hear from you. Oh, what
Yeah,
time
it's
is it?
afternoon. No, it's
Uh,
it's for it's last hour of the day.
oh, it's 4 p.m. Okay. We probably have a very short meeting today because the China team was in the vacation or holiday last week, a whole week. Uh, so
Wow.
they have no added any pull request. So
Right.
yeah, so
I've
we
been working on the EEA spec all day anyway, so the little bit of extra time would be nice. I can finish off what I'm busy with.
okay.
Hey, Wita, we're gonna need a lot of time to go through this. I'm changing quite a bit of stuff. Um, I'm extending it. I'm bringing in a lot of, you can almost say, inspiration from our production contracts using this spec. And I need to motivate it. So this is not a PR to just to be merged, but I'm going to push it like before the end of the week. Otherwise, that you have time before or lots of time to read through it. Please don't just merge it because it's big changes. It's just there's naming things there is and the cleaning up the Algorand and the Stellar. I'm not gonna do too much there, but just it's a very much a mess in my eyes at the moment. And then there's some stuff put in there that I put question marks next to it. But so I just because I'm only gonna see you next week, right? Next week Wednesday, for that. So I'm gonna try to push it this week and send you an email and see. It's going to take a bit of time to get that. And it's not just the solidity that I put back in there. It's also going through everything and addressing the interfaces that we defined. They're
Okay.
still the same. They just need a bit of renaming. And then the biggest thing, I don't know, do you have time or do you want to keep it short?
Oh, no, I have time. Yeah, yeah. I do have time.
Um,
Yeah.
the biggest thing is if you really want to think about a messaging layer
Mm-hmm.
being network specific. So our messaging layer is going to decode and verify according to a specific network. And this is used in the function call when you do an inbound call, right? You call
Yeah.
your decode and verify. In that same inbound call, you're also going to verify your authentication parameters, right? So
Yeah.
before you execute that call. So this is already two things. It's very network specific. So I want to move those to, or I've moved them to the messaging layer so that our messaging layer really becomes this modular element that we can change out depending on network. And for that, you need more than just a decode and verify and
Mm-hmm.
verify and authenticate auth parameters, which is now specific to the network. So those two functions. And then also I added an update and commit. Now, this is where you would do your outbound call, um,
Mm-hmm.
and then you would emit an event. So now you will, as you would with your inbound call, you would call decode and verify. Now you on your outbound call, you would call update and commit. Now we can change the name. I'm not too fussy about it. I didn't really know what to call it. Update and commit, and then again to the messaging layer, which is now network specific. It can emit this event function call, cross-chain function call that we have, or it can maybe be a linear or a layer two that wants a sent message event, or it can be something else that is just a state change. So depending on your network on the other side. So again, that is also something that was added into the messaging layer and that needs to be, if you're using the function call layer, that needs to be incorporated. So and then there's still the estimate gas that's also going, again, network specific, moving to the messaging layer that the function call layer or the application layer is calling. So this is what I mean with it's sort of a biggest change, and the biggest thing there is now your event becomes a messaging layer thing because this is very Ethereum. Our cross-chain function call event is a Ethereum event, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what if we want to do something that is acceptable on a layer two? Then it might look different. And we might even in that update and commit, it's a non-view function. So we might even update a rolling hash commit that's going to get anchored with a trusted entity in the middle, like they do with linear. So you don't even need to emit an event. It can just be something that gets that gets stored at a trusted entity will read and then anchor on another layer, which is very one chan thingy that can happen. So yeah, I'm interested to see what you think. And then instead of having then the cross-chain verifier that has this decode and verify, I rather, and what we also implemented is a cross-chain connector. So this cross-chain connector is then the one that sits in the messaging layer. You will have a connector for whatever network you want to connect to. Suppose you have a
Mm-hmm.
Corda, you have an Ethereum, you have a Linear 2, you have a Arbitrum, or what to call you want to have. And that connector contract sits in a messaging layer, and it will have the three functions, or maybe four if it's a gas, if there's a gas fees involved. So it's decode and verify, it's authenticate hidden auth parameters, or we can call it application parameters, or just maybe what did I call it? Verify authentication parameters, and then update and commit, and then estimate gas, I think, and that's the four. Um, so that's our messaging layer now. So it's a bit of a move around, right? And what will it break in Smoot? Because you implemented the EA spec in Smoot.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good point. I think the what I'm thinking is that remember when we say decode, right? That one we want to make it simple. That came from Peter Robinson with GPAC, right? So that name is very kind of uncommon, to be honest. We can definitely change that. But now the question is that you have the authenticate and verify and then commit, right? These are very EVM specific. So I'm wondering, do we want to have it as like a must implement functions, or just that you can just
So currently,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, this is now like the function must or and may. So this is the two. I'm not meaning to change the decode and verify, even though if you think
uh-huh,
there's a better name for it, it's
yeah,
adding another function, and
yeah,
then the application layer. Ooh, where are they now? The application authentication parameters is adding to the same interface, the cross-chain connector interface, just how to encode them and how to decode them. And then, sorry, I must add here, and to verify them, right? So even if you
yeah.
want to keep your authentication your parameters into, sorry, I'm not finished with this, or it's a bit of a work, or it took me a little longer than I thought. So, and then there's also the estimate gas if you have transaction fees. That's also in the connector contract. So this is your interface for still all messaging. So
Mm-hmm.
so it comes the most important thing is like the authentication parameters used to sit in a function called layer. So big change.
Yeah,
And then like a connector here with the proofs. It's just the proof data that's specific to your connector. So you will say that like this is a ZKP connector that will have specialized proof data. And the same thing for a Merkle proof or Ethereum, an Ethereum connector. You will have specialized proof data. So it makes it kind of easier to not just have that interface for everything, like a verifier interface that does decode and verify, and an authentication parameter interface that does, I must still add it here, like verify or authenticate parameters. I can't believe I forgot now, like the name we use in our code. So this is like I say, it's a bit of change. Um, where was the, and I just, yeah, that's the interface, and I'm just cleaning up the naming a bit. I think there's a lot of things that was added that I didn't read so much. Um, sorry,
yeah.
I'll
I
put
need to
a
dig it, read it again too. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, go through it again. Well, and then yeah, see these kind of things. I just need to. So I put them now. The Ethereum ones. This is what I added in. So this is going to be
Hmm.
very Ethereum now. I'm going to code Solidity in here, put Solidity examples in here like you asked. This becomes Solidity. Could be a Corda connector there. So I can make this one I want to clean up. This is I have to go look. It feels to me it was just dumped here. And we can clean it up. Like for example, this if you want to say, and I did add here like for equivalent messaging. Let me just see connector event based, no decoded. Yeah. Messaging components implementing the cross-chain connector contract must expose public functions equivalent to those defined here. Because it's too difficult, Ouija, to say that people must, for example, in Solidity, you must return a byte and only a byte,
Hmm.
and it adds like 100,000 gas to the to the cost instead of returning exactly the verification parameters for that network. Suppose it's an Ethereum network, I want to get the contract address and a function call parameters out. I don't want to get it out in a bytes bundle that I have to decode again and have extra costs. Meanwhile, it does exactly the same. It is equivalent. It is compatible. So this is where I put the equivalent in. I don't know what kind of doors I'm opening there. You must say how you feel about this. Because otherwise
Yes.
it becomes very hard to be compatible. And even these implementations that they dumped here for the other with the ecosystem integrations, the Algorand ones and stuff. I mean, this is, it is output, it's still a byte array. No, I don't know, did they implement this exactly like it is? Decode and verify, I
Yeah.
mean, even the name is different and the result is still bytes.
Yeah, let me, I think for definitely for the different platforms is implemented with different names as you see the mentioned the different programming language, right? So I think so what you want is that instead of having a bytecode return, you just have like an address or something, just define the data type returned.
Yes,
Is
this
that
is what
one?
our
Yeah.
implementation, and this is probably what I'm going to put into into here. Like our, no, our decode and verify here returns a contract address and the function called data that was extracted. There it is,
Okay.
authenticating. Um, so, yeah, sorry, they don't have return variables here, but and then we want to say that it's equivalent. Not make too much of a fuss that it's not bytes, that it's specific parameters according to the platform that you decode it on. And
Okay.
when we say equivalent, then somebody can go and call it underscore call if they want, and it'll be fine. Then they don't have
Yeah.
to say that you must implement this interface, because in our contracts you can imagine what we have to do now. Like we have to go and change our own naming to fit this
Mm.
spec where it's completely out of sync. So even when we can show that it is equivalent to what is in this spec.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think maybe we can just mention that these interfaces should be defined in the source code of your implementation, which means that if I want to check how you implement it, I can always dig out that interface and see what data type you are returning. Right.
Yes,
And if I know what data type you're returning, whether it's a byte stream or just a address or just or some simple data type that save gas, I think that should be fine. But we just need maybe just say that you need to define that interface as a separate interface definition so that people can see it easily. Not embed that interface into some bigger like interface. It should be separate. Why don't we do that? We just say that that interface need to be separated out so that people can see it.
fair
That
enough.
definitely,
Like
yeah.
yeah, you wouldn't mix this with other interfaces. No, for sure. Even in our case, well, for us, we were forced to have a cross-chain function call and a cross-chain messaging and a cross-chain verifier and it was just so many and they all are just connectors. And then it is really makes sense in the spec as well to just have one interface that you want all these functions. Like I say, there's another one that needs to come in here, the authentication of the auth parameters. Proper separation of what gets done in layers that you can swap out the messaging layer without any effect for other
Yeah, yeah,
chains.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, cool. And do you have a like GitHub location for the source code you have so that I can see the bigger picture? Uh, do you
Uh,
is that open? Is that GitHub open?
no, this is well, there's a dummy thing that's open in Adara Tech for linear, right? So
Yeah.
you will see what the connector implementation for linear looks there. This is a little different. Like, not only does it need the EA specs interfaces or those functions, it also needs a function that the linear rollup can call to anchor things when a rollup comes in. So this is just a route that it's, so I had to go rip out just the messaging layer that it's modular, and that messaging layer we can replace with a connector, right? So,
Okay. Yeah.
and you can look at that code, but that the interrupt manager is, it's literally just saying these functions and doing the minimal as for a proof of concept, but it's the same in our production code. Our storage is upgradable. It's very complex, like how the things goes into each other, but those interfaces is the same as it is in that repo.
Okay. So what's the location of that repo? Is it Adara re
Wait, let me get it for you.
Yeah.
This is not running properly. I broke it at the moment. Remember, I pushed yesterday and I broke my stuff, my own
Mm.
stuff. This is still very work in progress, but you can get an idea on what I needed to do there. Where's the chat? Sorry. Yeah,
Just yeah, chat is on the bottom in the
yeah,
middle. Yeah.
sorry. This is the one. Please, this is still work in progress, and you can see what was. Oh, and there's even conflicts. But it's just ripping out their messaging service and replacing it with connectors. And our connectors is implementing this messaging layer. So you will see the, um, I don't know if I can, no, it doesn't want to stop sharing that one. Um, yeah, interfaces. So there's a whole EA interop directory here. So you can see there's a linear, because their setup looks a little different from layer 1 to layer 2, or messaging protocol from layer 1 to layer 2 and from layer 2 to layer 1. You have two different connectors. So on your layer 1, you will use the layer 2 linear connector. On your layer 2, you will use the linear 1 connector. Um, so this is also not so updated. Where's the interfaces? What's in the connector? This is the rolling hash now, linear connector. I see, you'll see all the encode of the spec will be here, decode and verify. See here, you can see what it returns.
Okay.
Um, yeah, as an example. So these things are sort of the same. And this is still referencing the old spec. And this is how we implemented it. That Boolean can even be replaced, and just let it revert, you know. Um, and then the new one to update and commit. Now this contract address is Ethereum specific, but in the spec I made it optional. So if you are sending a message to a network that doesn't have smart contracts, you don't need to fill in the contract address.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and this is just maintenance, like, you know, you have to keep track of your remote source networks and your remote destination networks, and so it's more like an interoperability. And so our cross-chain function call layer is called,
Mm.
so interface is I interoperable. I like the I interoperable better than I cross-chain function call, but again, I don't want to change too many things at the same time. That's what we called it. And you have, it's the same, right?
Okay. I
And the
interoperable.
rest
Yeah.
is just maintenance.
Oh,
And the rest is the auth parameters. The rest is linear specific, where I ripped out the messaging service, and it you can see the changes that needed to make this all documentation. What needed to be made to the roll up, to the linear roll-up base. It's minimal changes if you think about it. You store a contract that you will reference,
Mm-hmm.
rather than using it an internal one. So, but it will
I
still
see.
use the normal one if you give it as in initialization, you give it a 0 thing. And then like what doesn't work at the moment, be careful. I wrote local tests and to set up tokens because like I want to start up the environment for longer than like for more than one test. So I wanted, and they deploy it when you bridge, they deploy a new contract that I can reuse, but I first want to deploy the contract the first time. So it's just little setup scripts that can be useful if you, I'll let you know when you can run them. It is, oops, it is showing exactly like a setup, like what messages get sent and blah, blah, blah. I have to illustrate like this is working, right? When it eventually does. So this is a public POC that you can look at.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Well, well, thank you. I'll take time to look at that. I have several things here as well. So, first is that we are supposed to give a smooth seminar to the team, to the community, and they have Cacti has a seminar on November 12th. So I was thinking, we wait until they have it so that we can better prepare ours and see how that thing go first. So I'm thinking
Right.
about November 18th. Is that good
I
for
will
you?
send it. It's good for me. I will send it to Pete, and or just make sure that who else do you need other than Pete?
From your side, only Pete is
Yeah,
needed because the
yeah.
the R3 team is say they want to focus on Solana, so we don't need them. And then on our side, well, of course, we are informed Tam. Tam just has a new baby, so he won't join today, and maybe I'm not sure. I think he probably will not present in the meeting. So it will be just us presenting. So
No
so.
sleep, shame. Yeah, yeah, he's gonna run on very low sleep for a very long time.
Yeah. He actually today he just informed me he won't be able to join today's call. So I know, I understand that. Um, so so 18 is okay, but that's about this
Maybe
time.
forward
Yeah,
to Pete, and when he
yeah.
responds, I will forward back onto you. But it's good for me. And then you must just let us know. I don't know if you want to prepare a slide deck and we can fill in some pages on what you want us to maybe add, or what how you want. You can just let us know, and we'll slot in.
Yeah. I think let's decide on the time first, because I need to inform David, and David need to arrange it with the LFDT. So
Yes.
he still need to arrange it. So let's decide on the time, then we can have enough time to prepare the slides, and we will make progress too. So lots of progress too. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Cool.
I think that is made it, and then the I also add um kind of a issue, update the issue for the ERC 3643, and I just say that we can easily implement onto Polygon and Ethereum. But I'm not sure about Stellar because Stellar chain has announced that they are implementing this ERC 3643. But I look at their website, look at their GitHub, I don't see it yet. It was announced in October, which is 2 months ago. So I don't think it's there yet. So at least we can implement it into two EVM chains, and let's see how things go. Maybe I was thinking that if November, by that time this implementation is ready, we can do a demonstration of ERC
Yeah.
3643. That'd be interesting.
Definitely. Did you mean is this you're talking about the implementation in Smoot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we must just make sure what compliance we want to to highlight, because that's what they're all about, right? Like you
Yeah,
must show how the decentralized identity is working, like their PowerPoints. Because if we're just gonna say ERC, then nothing. It's not worth much, right? Is the conversation. I think Anais also said last time, it has to use ERC 3643 features inside,
yeah.
even if it's the most basic compliant feature. Otherwise, it is just a ERCPO. It doesn't mean much.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least we can do the AML, which means that when you transfer something to the other chain, address to the other chain, we need to verify the source address to make sure that it's transfer is complying with this token. And then when they go to the other side, we need to check it again. Well, that's complex though, because what if it failed, that the check-in failed on the target chain? So there need to be something new implemented because you need to verify it before you do the cross-chain transaction.
This is what
And
I'm saying. You
wow,
must go and
yeah,
draw it out, Ouija, because the way you explained it last time is that there's something missing
yeah, exactly, exactly.
to make this work. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah,
Hey, you know what? We need to write an article on that because this is something new.
you're such a researcher. Whatever
Yeah,
like, good
this is
topic that
something.
comes.
This is something new. This is something new.
Yes,
Definitely.
it is.
Yeah, they don't expect that because I was thinking that if you go to the other side, then you check it on the other target chain because it compliance is implemented on single chain, right? But this doesn't
Yeah.
work with that. Uh,
Now, the cross chain is not so straightforward. This is true. Very true.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. But anyway, let's think about that. Let's see if our presentation can be along that track because the LFDT is very interested in
What
compliance.
use case are you going to use?
That's what I'm
What?
thinking. The kind of compliance cross-chain transaction, which means that
So a repo, a XVP trade, a what? Because they're all about trades, I think, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
real world
yeah,
asset trades. So we're gonna have to do a trade. And then for any sort of thing like that, you need like you know said there's something missing. You need a contract. Like we have a XVP manager contract that has to do with these trades, and we check the compliance before it emits an event or something like that. So we need to implement, I think, something on that level to not just even for cross chain, even just for application wise. I don't think they provide that unless we can pull it from some of their examples. We're still going to need an application layer as well. It's we can use the ERC 3643 in an application layer, but it doesn't give us an application layer. If you
yeah.
know what
We
I mean.
need maybe the application could be how about decentralized exchange with the permission
Yes,
token.
okay. Yeah, something like that. Yes. Something that's
Okay.
maybe used. I always ask like, where is this used? Tokeniers also raise so much money and they do make a lot of noise, but how many is it used? Where is it used? Where is it? Who's adopted it? And maybe like take a use case from there.
Okay.
When we make the effort, we might as well make one that is useful, right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. If that's the case, let me update this one.
Well, a nice will know a use case. That's good. Um,
Okay. Just
or people that's implemented Pasanara. Pasanara. That has implemented it as a good use case. Or has implemented a good use case, like you say, using Polygon that you want to use.
Okay. Let me before I update it, maybe let me think about that. Because I remember now it says bring up the important point. The Anise mentioned she has a use case, and let me ping her as well to see if the use case is still valid. And then otherwise, can do the centralized exchange, or we can go to Polygon to see what applications are there already, and then we can just port one as
Well, regardless of what other chain we use, we need the
yeah.
use case. So we should be able to use Polygon or whatever else we want to put in there. It shouldn't make a difference. As long as it's EVM based, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool, cool.
Aztec
Okay.
as thumbs up. So it feels to me this website also changed every time I look at it. Okay.
Yeah. And do you
32 years.
when can you submit the pull request? I know you're very busy right now. When can you submit the pull request
I
so that I
can
can?
push it, but please don't merge it. It's halfway done, right? There's still
Okay.
some. Okay, just to start reading, maybe I will push the PR. But this is in the EA repo, right? Um,
Yeah, yeah.
the other one is already in the Adara Tech. But I will push the EA stuff. But please don't merge it. I'm still. I'm not even at the Solidity cases. I'm cleaning up the interfaces.
Okay.
And if you see
Oh.
question marks with a there, it's, I don't know who put it in there, and it doesn't sound correct. It smells like AI. I don't know. Like, forgive me. There's comments in there. That you should ignore.
Yeah. Yeah, and I need to look at our implementation as well to see because we have loads also construct the parameters and then decode the parameters and then also commit the things like that. We also have that, and let me see if we can change that easily, modify that easily on our side. Yeah, we have an export implementation, so we can easily extract common things and then make changes accordingly. Yeah, my
Yeah.
concern is more on the LAN EVM chain. And like for example, in Cardano, we are experiencing a problem now because you cannot call smart contract directly in Cardano. So you have to like you send the message in and then the inbound call, and then you store in the datum in that smart contract, and then you have to use that off chain to call that smart contract agent and then construct a UTXO, and then call another smart contract. So you have there's another process for that. So I just don't know how we can make it compatible to the spec.
Sure.
Like
I know nothing,
there,
almost nothing about Cardano, but I can maybe just make sure I know what you're talking about. I'll make a note on whenever we have a next meeting. Um, yeah, that sounds like yeah. It's not just something where we're gonna make it compliant easily.
yeah. And just these are the will be the cases where consideration of Cardano chain, the chain specific one, right? And even with Bitcoin, right, you can have a smart script, and then you just have you send to a script, and then you record some of the data over there. And then if you want to call another address, you need to do another transaction. So
Yeah.
that is, yeah. It
Lots
did,
of crazy
yeah.
spaghetti orchestration.
Exactly. Actually, to be honest, they call that orchestrator.
Oh yeah, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, they call that agent to be orchestrator.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
trusted. They must add the trusted
Uh,
orchestrator.
yeah, trust the orchestrator. Yes, yes.
Mm.
Uh,
Well, this
yeah.
is what we fight so hard to avoid, right? Not to have that
Yeah.
trusted.
Yeah. And if there's a proof over there, that'd be great. But at the same time, it kind of introduce more
Well, go look
vulnerabilities.
at what Cardano do. You just made it sound very complex to do interop. And I always think if a chain cannot do interoperability, it's doomed today,
Yeah.
these days.
Well, they have different ideas already, but it's very difficult to make it really work. They have proposed several things like the Hedgehog and other things that kind of like layer two for Cardano. And then they also have computational verification, which means that when you have a transaction in the main chain, then the proof is produced, and that proof can be leveraged by other chains. And they are working on that actually.
Oh,
So yeah. And to be
I'll
honest,
read up.
that
I'll read up
yeah,
further.
yeah, yeah. I was supposed to work with their research team on a seminar this week, but they postponed it to next week. So I just want to see what kind of new progress they have made. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
What use cases
Okay.
is running on Cardano?
Oh, the use cases, right? Well, they have tons. Well, Cardano, I'm not sure how much you know about Cardano. It's very
Not
kind
much,
of
not much at all.
Okay, it's very confined. It's a confined community.
Payments only.
Yeah, and then they are supposed to they want to expand it to enterprises, and they have exchanges, they have lending platform, uh, they have
Yeah, okay, okay, I've seen that.
yeah, it's still in the DeFi space, and then they also have like investment platform. But I see that investment platform, basically you can deposit your asset to the investment platform, and then they will take the investment and then invest in the real world scenario. But that component is done manually. I think it's manually. So I do not see that as a true decentralized use case. Basically, they just collect the investment and then invest separately off chain. So they have
No,
those
we've been
use cases.
showing this for the last, this not this, we've been showing that for the last 8 years that it can be done, and we don't think it's secure, right? To be honest.
Yeah. Well, it's still because when
It's not
touching the real,
decentralized. Sorry.
yeah, not essential. But when you're touching the real world, it's still the traditional method still
Yes,
used.
that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that, yeah. But I'm hoping that they can come up because they are the first one to implement for big chains. They are the first one to implement the POS, proof of stake. They're much like they are
Yeah.
many years ahead of Ethereum in adopting proof of stake. Ouroboros method. The Ouroboros method was at first adopted by Cardano as a main consensus mechanism. So
Yeah. Snake eating its own tail.
yeah,
Ouroboros.
yeah. Okay, and then I was thinking Cardano is very advanced in research, but in terms of adoption and then the community, I think of course Ethereum is much better. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Well, I will read up a little bit. Um, well, they're still posting things. Like it's not dead. Let's say that.
Oh,
Um,
well, it's still very active actually.
yeah.
Yeah, but they unlike Cardano, no, unlike Solana or Ethereum, Cardano is still uh well, I don't want to say too much about them, but still kind of have room to grow. That's what I can say. Uh,
So diplomatic. AI is listening.
yeah, yeah.
I pushed the PR to the EA thingy or repo. Um, your please still in draft that you can look
Okay,
at.
okay. And then I'll let me know as soon as possible about peace and feedback, and then I'll let David know, and then we can set that time, and then we start working on the PPT PowerPoint, and then also work on the real example as well.
Cool. I will forward to him now, and I have a meeting with him tomorrow, so you'll have an answer by tomorrow evening.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Thanks, Matt.
thank you, Mary. It's great to talk to you today.
Yes, ditto.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a
Okay,
nice
thank
week.
you. You too. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.